This session and all of them that we're going to learn today should be dedicated also to Rifah Shlema, dear Rabbi Yaron Ruven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris, Simi Marasi Rachel Bezbrandel, Ariela Ora Basana, David Shlomo Ben Sandra, Yehudis Bas Noach. Also a quick release of dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina, BeEzrat HaShem, learn today with him. And Atzlacha Rabba to Giveres Chana Bas Abraham Avinu and the whole family. We continue today with our book Kosher Kitchen. So we're in chapter 19, last chapter, and we're going Kosher Kitchen utensil by utensil. Okay. So BeEzrat HaShem, we're very close to the end. Okay. So next topic is sugar bowl. One should preferably use separate sugar bowls for meat and dairy meals. Okay. Since the sugar bowl may touch the food into which the sugar is added. Okay. A sugar shaker may be used for both meat and dairy meals. However, it is advisable to purchase separate shakers for meat and dairy. A glass or milled sugar bowls or shaker are required to be LevLeib is bracha. Okay, so let's do slow. Okay, so sugar bowl. I'm not sure. Okay, what is the problem here? So okay, so from the beginning, one should preferably use a separate sugar bowls for meat and dairy. So you usually you would not go into into sugar bowl deep with a wet spoon, right? With a dory spoon. So right. If you want problem, right. So from the family, that's what you do. But otherwise, you take with a dry, clean spoon, and that's it. So technically, if you're going to do that, you don't need separate sugar bowls. But if kids can go with a wet one, that would be the issue, right? That they leak and they go again. That's the issue. But otherwise, if nobody does it, technically one sugar bowl is enough. But there is no problem. Basically, what we're trying to do, we're trying to stay kosher. So if there is a reason to believe that somebody would go with a dory spoon, so that's it. So but just buy two of them, right? One used for a dairy meal and one for a meat meal. Okay. Right. A sugar shaker. I'm not sure. Why a person would use sugar shaker? Maybe the way I understand sugar shaker. I remember it was in some kind of cafe and restaurant. So so there is like a thing, right? And there is small hole on top. Right? There is like a thing to open and then close, like flip flop, right? And then you pour from this thing sugar into your coffee or tea, whatever you do. I found it very not practical. Let's put it this way, because when you take a spoon, you know approximately. I need 1.5 spoons, for example, or 2 spoons, 17 spoons. But with this thing, I don't know how do I know, unless you put it in a spoon. So if you have this sugar shaker, right, can be used for meat and dairy meals. Okay, so there is no problem. However, it is advisable to purchase separate shakers for meat and dairy. So again, if they do this, again, I see it not practical, but people, if they have it in restaurant or in cafe, I'm not sure. Okay, so people still do it, right? So meaning that people, I guess, to prevent people go with their spoons. So you save on spoons, I guess, right? When you do that. So in this case, so if it's like if you want to add into the coffee and you first put coffee, for example, you have not instant coffee, but this boiled coffee. So and then you add to the hot coffee, and you already added milk, so it could be problematic from all the vapors. Yes. So in this case, as he said, let's have 2 separate shakers. A glass or metal sugar bowl, right, or shaker requires tevilah with bracha, right? Glass or metal, right? Because again, there is edible products there. Okay. Always bracha. Next one, table. Okay. So two people, one eating meat and one dairy, may not sit together at the table. Chazal were concerned that they may share food and transgress a prohibition basar bechalav. Right. This prohibition applies only if two acquaintances, since only they would feel comfortable taking each other food. Strangers would not share food, and may share may not share food, and may share table, even if one eats meat and the one daily. Even acquaintances may share table if they have if they place a sign mark that will remind them not to share food, for example. So before we go to examples, let's see. So two people eating together at the same table, one meat and one dairy. So they have to be careful. So Chazal were concerned that they might eat from each other's plate. I think it's a bad manners to eat from each other's plate. I think so. Even if you're family members. I mean, I never ever took from anybody's plate. Never ever. Right. Unless kids did not finish something, or somebody else, like from your family members, so you can eat. Like your wife did not finish, a wife after the husband, that's a different story. But to take from the plate when they eat, never ever happened. Okay. All right. Right. But technically, if there is such a thing, I mean, even though it's bad manners, doesn't matter. So if it's possible to happen, so they cannot eat at the same table. So if it's possible to sit one on one end of the table, let's say a longer table, one on the other, so they cannot reach into the other plate. So that would be the best. Right, but if it's two acquaintances, but the one that close to each other, they feel comfortable. But otherwise, if they are just two co-workers, most likely they're not going to take food from each other. Right, most likely. Right, I didn't where I work in the cafeteria. They had these big tables, like round table, maybe 9 people sit, 7 people sit, right, like huge. And people will come and sit together, having lunch. Everybody brings their own lunch. They talk, they eat, they joke, all these things. Baruch Hashem, non-Jews. Okay. Right? Would they take from each other plate? I don't know. But they were sitting very close together. Put it this way. So strangers would not share food, and may share table even if one eats meats and dairy. So meaning, if these two co-workers, they can sit next to each other, especially if somebody has not kosher food, there is no question about it. But right, so this would be stopper. But now we're talking about when both of them have kosher food, right, and they're close to each other. That says husband and wife have this relationship and take the food from each other, or kids from each other. So of course we have to sit them separately, or they say and provide some sign that some mark they would know not to cross it, to remind me, oh, it's this thing, where the flower vase, or I don't know, something like it is there, usually not here, but now it's here to remind me that today is different. And okay, for example, each may use separate tablecloth, or one of them may use tablecloth while the other his place on the table surface itself. So one of them will take the tablecloth away. So now that's a good eat on a table, put the plate on the table to show that something is different. Okay, so that's for sure, it's sign, for sure, it's understandable. Next one, if they normally do not use placemats, they may eat the separate placemats. So I mean, usually people put the placemats on the surface of the table. But here, let's say I'm just adding to the story. They have a tablecloth, right, and they want to put these placemats on a tablecloth. Usually people don't do it. I think usually people do it. So now it's going to be a good sign. So today is different. Right, or one eats on a placemat while the other does not. Okay, so meaning Something should be different. That they should remind each other. Next one. They place the object that is usually not placed on a table between them to serve as separation and reminder. The object must be large enough to be noticeable. So something that actually respectable, right? Respectable, because you cannot put some disrespectful object to the table. What does it mean? You cannot put the first example pop up in my head, like a shoe box, right? You bought shoes, the clean box, nothing, never put it on the floor, and then even there is no shoes, so you cannot put, because it's going to be disrespect to the table and our dinner table. Like table, not dinner, just a regular table at which we eat, especially Shabbos and morning meal, comparable to the altar. So it would be huge disrespect to the table. So something that could be on that table, but usually it's not, right? Usually it's not the day. Okay. Right. But it should be must be large enough to be noticeable, like Hanukkah menorah or something. Okay. So continue. If the two individuals are not within the hands of each other, the food is not within the reach of each other, they may eat together. So as I said, that's actually preferable. Somebody asked me this question. I said that's, and everybody understands. So she's, for example, husband and wife, she's on this side of the table, he's on that side of the table. They're not going to take food from each other. Okay. Continue. Even one person eating alone may not eat meal upon the table at which the dairy is present, or the reverse, right? Since he may absent-mindedly eat some of the dairy. However, he may eat meat if the table is large and the dairy is not within his hand's reach. For example, kids finish it and they left the table, the dirty plates with remain on the food on the table, which is not good. We have to teach them to clean after themselves, right? But let's say for whatever reason they could not, whatever, right? So and he's still eating, so he would not take like leftover from kids. Okay, no problem, because he sits sitting very far. Okay, so continue. So next one is tablecloth, and it says, one must not right. So right, we finish. Yeah, one must not eat one may not eat daily on the tablecloth used for meat meal, or the reverse, since meat residue remains on a cloth. Remaining on the cloth may touch the dairy food. Most authorities do not differentiate between eating food directly on the table, on a cloth, and eating only on a plate. One need not keep separate tablecloth for meat and dairy meals. A tablecloth used for meat may be thoroughly washed and subsequently used for dairy. Nevertheless, some have a custom of using separate tablecloth for each type. Halachically, a plastic tablecloth may be wiped and cleaned of any residue and reused for cold dairy foods. Common custom is not to eat meat and dairy on the same surface. Okay, so let's try to understand from the beginning. So now we're talking about tablecloth. Okay, one may not use dairy on a tablecloth used for meat meal, or the reverse. So usually we don't put dairy. I don't know, like you put piece of cheese, for example, on a tablecloth. Like when we eat everything in a plate, so you have a plate and a little plate and a bowl or something, whatever you need. But nothing ever touches. We never put like in my family, we don't put anything on the table itself. Unless like fruits that you need to wash, for example. But even after we wash, so like we wash the fruit, apple, orange for later, for example, I would put it on a plate. We never put it on the table, never ever. Never put the bread on the table, never. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know, like, it was always like that. So like you take a plate, right, a small plate, whatever plate you need, and you put piece of bread on there. You cut on this plate, never on the table itself or on a tablecloth. Okay. So and plus the most time the dairy is eaten like cold. So it's not such a big deal. But still, if a person is not careful and things can fall on a tablecloth, that's the concern. So again, one may not eat dairy on a tablecloth used for meat meal, right, or the reverse, right? Okay, so meaning he recommends two different tablecloths. So I mean, well, what he said that you can wash. I mean, between the meals, what is a meal like a dairy meal in the morning and a meat meal in like at night? So you're going to wash in between? Most likely not, right? Especially if you have a like bigger dinner table. This what is it? The tablecloth is going to occupy the whole washing machine, and then to dry it, it's going to take you hours. And it can ruin. Like if you're going to wash it so often, you're going to ruin it. Okay. Right. All right. So I would say if a person have this concern, just have two different tablecloth or use a plastic on top. That's it. So meaning we're going to eat a dairy meal, so put plastic where we're going to sit. For example, it's not the whole family without gas, so this half of the table is enough. So cover is the plastic. Okay. Most authorities do not differentiate between eating a food directly from the directly on a cloth and eating only on plates. Okay. I mean, I hear what they're saying. So meaning they're very strict. One need not keep separate tablecloth for meat and dairy meals. But this phrase is a little. I mean, I understand that, but again, if you eat twice a day, or kids eating even for lunch, they want pizza or something like with something with cheese, breadsticks or with cheese, all of these things, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to wash between the use. So I guess the plastic tablecloth would be like a solution. A tablecloth used for a meat may be thoroughly washed and subsequently used for dairy. Okay. Nevertheless, some have a custom of using separate tablecloths for each type. So I would say that's more preferable, or just plastic on top, like clear plastic. Or not even clear plastic, like regular you buy like in discount store, right? This plastic tablecloth. Why I said that one are not clear, so you know exactly where it's top and where it's like bottom. Halachically, plastic tablecloth may be wiped and cleaned of any residue and reused for a cold dairy food. That's it. So I think that's would be best. So you just it's let's say for dairy people would use this plastic tablecloth. You can wipe it with a sponge, no problem, or with a paper towel, whatever you use. Common custom is not to eat meat and dairy on the same surface. Okay. Next one, tabletop. Halachically, one is permitted to eat both cold meat and dairy foods directly from the tabletop. I'm not sure. I never ever put. I mean, it would fall accidentally, but never ever somebody put in the tabletop. I don't know. It's not. I mean, I don't know. But directly from the table, since one usually clean the table surface between the meals. However, common custom is not to eat meat and dairy on the same surface. The dairy may be uncovered for dairy meals. The table, I'm sorry, the table, I apologize. The table may be uncovered for dairy meals and covered with a tablecloth or placemats during the meat meals, exactly, or the reverse. It may be preferable to use placemats for dairy as well. Okay, so let's see. So again, from the beginning, halachically, one is permitted to eat both dairy, cold meat and dairy foods directly from the table. I don't imagine it. Okay, but we got the idea. Since one usually cleans the table surface between the meals, I mean, if it's clean, unless it is practically speaking, if it is clean, there are no stains. Like if you ate and there is no spills, if you ate from your plate with a fork, with a knife, and with a spoon, like why do you need to clean the tabletop from what? Right? So I mean, maybe once a day, but after each meal, I don't see like it's practical. I mean, of course you can do it, but I'm not sure why you should do it. But okay. However, common custom is not to eat meat and dairy on the same surface, which is good. I mean, right, don't exaggerate. The table may be uncovered for dairy meal and covered with a tablecloth or place mats during the meat meal. So meaning, right? So it's not going to touch the surface, and you use the plates and use the knives and forks, and that's it. Okay, it may be preferable to use placemats for dairy as well. Okay, no problem. So it could be placemats and the tablecloth, no problem. So next one is a teapot, and it says a teapot may be used to brew tea for both meat and dairy meals. Right. Even a teapot that is used to serve tea at the table may be used for both meals, since it is usually used at the end of the meal and does not come into contact with dairy or meat. Okay, so which is a good point. Good point. So tea is usually served at the end of the meat and does not come with a contact with dairy and meat. So one teapot is enough. Okay. The pot should not be washed with the meat and dairy dishes. Right. A separate teapot requires ceramic teapot requires tevilah, but without bracha. Right, ceramic is because it's questionable. Right, so meaning what? Because maybe it's glass, maybe it's not glass. Okay, so we dip it. So again, teapot is enough for meat and meal, meat meal and dairy meal, because it's tea served at the end of that meal, so nothing is going to splash into it. Okay, which is good, right? And you need we need to do tevilah. Why? Because it is a food that's edible food, and right, and right. If it's glass, so actually we bought a new teapot. We had the teapot for many years, but something that's broke. Basically, the lid fell and broke. What can you do? Right, so I tap on the internet on the Amazon teapot. I thought, okay, I'm going to get like 30 teapots, so I'm going to choose one. That's it. So it was like 3,000 or 30,000, something like an abnormal number. So people into the food, into all the craziness. Okay, we chose one, so we bought one from glass. Okay, which is very light, like much lighter than the last one, right? And good. Okay, no problem. And not expensive. Okay, so that one, this glass one for sure needs tevilah with bracha. Continue. The thermos bottle. One may not use thermos bottle for both meat and dairy liquids. Okay, a part of thermos should not be used for a dairy or meat foods. Okay, similarly, a dairy thermos should not be used even for party foods to be served at the meat meal, since it is difficult to clean the bottle properly of any daily residues. A glass-lined thermos bottle. A glass-lined thermos bottle requires tevilah with bracha. A plastic-lined thermos bottle does not require tevilah. Okay, so let's do the thermos. Right, very useful thing in our life, the thermos. Okay, so from the beginning, one may not use thermos bottle for both meat and dairy liquids. So liquids meaning person wants to pour their coffee with milk. Right, cannot do that. Okay, and then clean it, right, and then clean it and use it for tea that he is going to drink with his meat meal. Okay. A part of thermos should not be used for a dairy or meat food. So usually we keep the thermos part of. Right, for example, if you need to make coffee, for example, right? So you just keep there water and then add to instant coffee sugar and add milk. There is no problem. There is no problem, right? But keep it part of. Or if a person always want to use this thermos for a daily, like for coffee with milk, yeah, that's a different story. So make it daily. That's it. All right. And dairy thermos should not be used even for party foods that would be served as a meat meal, right? So meaning the water, right, to be used for with a meat meal. Okay. Since it is difficult to clean the bottle properly of any dairy residue, right? Right, because it's of the shape. Even when you wash it inside, like with a brush, it's not so simple. Okay. A glass-lined thermos bottle requires tevilah with bracha. So meaning it is glass, and what we did one time, it was I want to share our experience. So some time ago we had extra time, and we would go dip everything into the ocean. So we drive a little, so there is right to the ocean. And what we did, we did not know this glass-lined thermos bottle, and it's actually spoiled. The ocean water like destroyed this lining. Okay, so it was brand new, had to replace it. Okay, that's the story. Very interesting. Continue. Right, plastic-lined thermos bottle does not require tevilah. I have not seen ever plastic line thermos bottle. Okay, usually like everything that I saw, it would be glass line, it's like a mirror, right? Glass line or what is it, or stainless steel. Okay, so stainless steel for sure required with bracha, and same with glass, but plastic does not require bracha. Tevilah, so it does not even require tevilah. Okay. And same story goes with the food thermos. So we had to buy somebody, a person, like he asked, he does not use the internet, so he told the story. He said, "Can I buy you this food like thermos for food, because he's like has all these problems with this person, poor person, and he goes to work and there is no kosher food, and he suffers with I don't know, with some cold foods, and he has all the stomach issues." Understand? So I said, look, today everything's so cheap, it's unbelievable. So we bought like a thermos, like a huge like tub that you can put cereal in there, you can put soup in there, so like a leak proof, unbelievable. So you can go to work and have a hot meal. Very good. Toaster. Okay, one may use a toaster to toast part of bread for both meat and dairy meals. If bread that came into contact with dairy, meat or dairy, is never placed on a toaster. Okay, a pop-up toaster requires tevilah without bracha. Okay, so let's do from the beginning. So we're talking about toaster. It's not toaster oven. The toaster oven is something different. So in the toaster oven, you can put like butter or something. I remember in my company they would put they buy bagels on every Friday. Like everybody had free breakfast, and everybody would stay in line because they bought only 2 toaster ovens, like for the whole company. I mean, technically, how many do you need? It's like a limited space, but everybody would try to come early and use this toaster oven for their bagels. Very interesting. So in this toaster oven, for sure, you can put the butter on top. In this like straight, regular ones, you cannot put anything. Just bread, right? You push the button and it makes your toast. So you can, what he said, that you can actually have you can use one toaster for a bread that part of bread, of course, that you're going to use for a meat or dairy meal. So with what? With right? If you never you would put there bread that touched dairy or touched meat, meaning that it was on a person plate and person decided to have a toast. Right today he was eating meat. Okay, so commentary said since in opinion some poskim a toaster does not require tevilah. Right. Okay. And pop-up toaster require tevilah without bracha. Right. So. So as we said before, just quickly, if you are afraid that this tevilah is going to damage it, you can if you know how to, just undo it, disassemble and assemble back, and then it's going to be done by a Jew. So you don't need to. You do not need to towel it, right? But otherwise, right, they say that you have to towel it, but without the blessing. And if you of course don't do it in the ocean or right, don't do it in the ocean. But if you do it in a lake or something, or you do it in a regular mikvah, the problem is going to smell because of the chlorine. They had a lot of chlorine, right? Right, but if you do it quickly, so as we said before, what is the minimum amount? I know 1 second is the minimum amount. So meaning you can do it quickly and then maybe wash it quickly in your house and let it dry completely. What is it? I would tell somebody maybe 3 days or something. And if there's no humid, 2-3 days completely let it dry, and then even though the electric parts got wet, it's not ruined usually. Okay. So next one is toaster oven. It is extremely difficult to clean the kasher the toaster oven, right? Therefore, it should not be used for both meat and dairy foods, or for the meat and fish, right? Bread that was toasted in a dairy toaster toaster oven may not be eaten in a meat meal, right? The meat tray and rack of the toaster oven require tevilah, right? So again, from the beginning, you have the toaster oven. It's like a small thing, right? It is extremely difficult to clean, right? To kosher. So inside there is so many elements, too much work, right? Therefore, it should not use for both meat and dairy. I'm not sure, technically it's possible to put in some kind of temperature, and it's going to go on this temperature for some time, maybe on number 10 or something for an hour. I'm not sure if you can specify time. I think one in my office, I was trying to help somebody, the person that could not figure out how to use toaster oven, right? Computer programmer, of course, right? Right. So we look at it together. I think it was time and the strength. Okay. So technically, if you think about it, it can go to it become very hot, can become very, very hot. Okay. So technically it's possible to kosher, but as they say, it's impossible to clean, so the residue is going to be there. So right, so they say don't kosher it, no problem. Right, so you use it in the bread that was toasted in this dairy oven. Do not use it for meat, and metal trays require tevilah. I think with bracha you say, right? Because usually they are from steel. Okay. Right, so continue. Trivet. One should not place meat or dairy pots on the same trivet. Right. A trivet that does not require tevilah. So trivet is they also call it pot rest. In simple words, fancy schmancy trivet. Okay. So meaning don't put dairy and the meat pots when they're hot. One should not place it. It does not say that when they're hot, but it's obvious when they're hot. If there are spills on the sides, that's understandable. But otherwise, if they cold, there is no problem. But that does not require tevilah. Nobody is going to eat from this trivet. Okay, we have a wood trivet. Okay, but you can have from anything. Most of them I think from metal, but wood is also good. Okay, so next one, a warming drawer. Let me quickly see what time is it. If we can continue or not. 1 second. Okay, so let's do a little further. A warming drawer. A warmer drawer reach temperature that are considered yatzel as bowl. Thus, one may not use one drawer for both meat and dairy foods. Right. Food often drip on the surface, and the taste is absorbed into the drawer's bottom. Right. Manufacturer claim that the lining the drawer with with foil may damage the drawer. Okay. The only possible way to use the drawer for both the type consequently is to cover all foods completely in foil and place them in a large foil pan and change the pan between the meat and dairy use. Punctualist individual would avoid using the warming drawer for both meat and dairy, even in this manner. One should consult Rav regarding the use of the warming drawer on Shabbos. I mean, today we have this hot plates. So, I mean, in olden days, we would use a warming drawer, yes, but today you have hot plates, why do you need a warming drawer? In our oven, we don't even have this warming drawer. In the old one, we did have, but in this, we don't. Okay, so again, so the warming drawer reaches the temperature considered yatzel as bowl. So it's something that keep the food warm. Right? It's not to cook it, but to keep it warm. Right? Thus, one may not use the one drawer for both meat and dairy. Okay. Both foods often drip on the surface, and the taste is absorbed into drawer bottom. So the drawer bottom, right? And then you put from the dairy. I'm not sure why these foods always drip. So I mean, just use a little bigger pot, just the way I see it, and a little like a smaller amount of food. It's never going to drip. That's why do you have to do it to the top? Okay, but let's say on the practical reason it can drip technically, and this residue it then get absorbed into the meat pot, right? So and it says manufacturer claims that the lining the drawer with foil may damage the drawer. I'm not sure, maybe because of reflection and it's going to get too hot, right? Okay, for whatever reason they say don't do it. they know, like the manufacturer, they know better. So the only possible way to use the drawer for both type consecutively, so one after another, is what, like completely cover food with aluminum foil, right? And place them in a large foil pan, right? Foil pan, which makes sense, like this reusable pan, not reusable, disposable pan. And change pan between the meat and dairy, or like a reusable pan. So right, and just make sure, even like you wrapped it, and even if it's going to drip it anyway, so it's going to drip into this pan. Okay, so I think it's perfect solution, right? Punctualist individuals would avoid warming drawer for both meat and dairy. Again, I think now our oven we don't have it like this thing. We have storage there. Okay. One should consult Rav regarding the use of warming drawer on Shabbos. Okay, so I would say don't use it, just use this hot plate and it should be good. So a few more and we're done with the official part of this book. Water urn. One may use the same hot water urn for both meat and dairy meals, right? One should be careful that milk does not splatter on the outside surface of the spout of the urn. So me personally, I never ever like put milk before that. So always add milk after that. So you pour the water into coffee, everything is part of, there is no problem. Even the cup is not part of, let's say, but it's clean. Right, it's clean and dry, like it could be dairy. But still, you pour it like a part of water into this clean cup, there is nothing that can happen. Okay, and then you add milk. One using the urn for dairy, for example, hot cocoa, should not place the cup close to the spout. So that the problem is, as we said before, the vapors that from the cup that is going to go and reside on the spout, right? To prevent dairy steam, here we go. I said vapors, there is steam, okay, from condensing on a spout. A water urn requires tevilah with bracha. So right, people say, really? There is like all of the electronic, and say like that's what it is, or just buy that pre-assembled by Jews. We have to look on internet. I think you can find one. We bought it from the store, but this store, especially, it's a Jewish store. They sell everything kosher, like all of the equipment that you don't need to towel. So there is a label, so like it's official. Okay. All right, meaning it was assembled by Jews. Okay, or as they say, you have to towel. So technically, again, I never heard from anybody who said I cannot disassemble, I cannot buy whatever. We said, okay, you buy whatever you want. So just go to the mikveh and dip it, right? And you have to dip it with a cord, right? As we said, with a cord. And like again, let it dry for some time, and it's going to be fine. Next one, watermelon. One may purchase cut watermelon in a fruit store or a supermarket, since one can assume that they keep separate knives to cut the melons. Right? I mean, they have this huge knife. Although it is not halakhically required, some advise that the cut surface is be washed. Okay. Some panchulous individuals do not buy any cut fruit from the store of non-Jew. Okay, so again, watermelon, if needed, like a huge one, if it's only a few people, like why do you need the whole watermelon? First of all, you have a smaller refrigerator. There's no place to put it, right? It's going to take you the whole week to eat it. So you prefer to buy half or like quarter of this, which makes sense, right? Makes sense. Right, so technically, as I say, they use this huge knife, only to cut the melons or fruits. They are not going to use it to cut sausage or something, or cheese, right? For sure. Right. So technically, you can buy. So in my family, we don't buy it. Right. Just buy smaller this watermelon. That's it. Right. So, but again, there's no problem. No problem. So, and last one, BeEzrat HaShem, is wok. One may use single part of wok to stir fry vegetables for both meat and dairy meals. So, as we understand, it's it's a dairy, or it's a part of. Only part of utensils should be used when stirring the food in a wok. I mean, for sure, because this thing is is very hot, right? Very hot, and the temperature, the taste is going to be passed from one to another. So only part of utensils in the wok. Okay, a wok in which meat and chicken or chicken pieces are fried may not use to stir fry vegetables to be eaten with dairy. I'm not sure why somebody would think so, right? A wok required tevilah with bracha. Okay, so again, one may use single part of wok. Wok is W-O-K. Okay, W-O-K. Right. So to stir fry vegetables on both meat and dairy meals. Okay, there's no problem. Like technically, why would we think otherwise? If it's part of. So, but all of the utensils that you use to stir it is also part of. Right. Right. Only part of it. Okay, we said that. A wok in which meat and chicken, like so, it's already you cannot claim there is part of, right? So it's already something different. It's already going to be the meat wok. Okay. So right, if once a person did this, they cannot do vegetables for a dairy meal. Okay. Wok required tevilah with bracha. Usually they are made of steel. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to skip all these things. Okay, so we're going to stop here, BeEzrat HaShem, and next we're going to start with a topic topic was what? Appendix. Appendix B. Alright, and our topic is going to develop various utensils. So the appendix meaning that he wrote something like in addition to the main body of the work. Okay, no problem. So we're going to leave it till next time, but we finish with official book.